Yeah, it's training your eye to this thing, and so the beauty of this system, the beauty of this, and the reason why I think it has some value and it works, okay, is because these were, architectural traditions that the Greeks and the Romans really, worked out. I mean, they learned it from the Egyptians, and their building style when they had to build their temples out of stone required, a pier, a column, and it supports a roof, right? So the tectonics, the how it's put together makes sense. That we need to span this opening, and we need to have these things, and we need to span it, and how do we span it? What does that span look like? And so slowly and over time they developed these. Hey, this one looks better than this. I wonder why. Okay, well, look at the proportions there. That let's make this kind of a new standard. This works better than that. And so over the hundreds of years that they did this, we ended up, and it's thought that they took original wood forms and made them into stone. So we're looking at Corinthian order on the right, or the Ionic. They think it comes from wood forms. So first part is it develops from a natural building system. Okay. And it's not made up. It's not someone's fantasy of what should be or anything else. Two, there is, as they continued to work it out, it began to work with different building styles and have a personality and gender. And so Vitruvius, the only writer from the classical age that whose books survived into the Renaissance, wrote about the gender of the styles, and that the Tuscan or Doric order 1 to 7 is a masculine order. It's a heavy, strong order, and the Corinthian order is a female, young maiden order. And I've had people look at buildings that are classically done, and you have the Tuscan order on the bottom, the Ionic, and then the Corinthian, and the most decorations way up the top there. And they'll look at it today and go, well, why wouldn't they bring the decoration down there so we can see it? It wasn't about that. It was about strength and being able to visually that strong, hefty, thick order can support more than that light, dainty order. So it's no wonder you don't put that up there. And then, buildings that have personality, like an armory would be done in the Tuscan or Doric order, very masculine, strong, unornamented, whereas a palace would be done in the Corinthian order.
Well, and I'm sure there's an element to it where
look at that one.
Also you're trying to draw your eyes up. Right? Like you're trying to, there's some marvel to being drawn upward and wanting to look up high and see, wow, like what a cool creation, rather than just,
Well, and a lot of these temples and stuff were done with like religious thought in mind, to like look up to God.
The heavens.
Yeah, true. So anyway, so the order, that's the background on the order of kind of where it came from. But the second piece of the order is that,
and we've been talking about, I know there's 5 of them. Can you run me through just before you jump into your next point, just the general overview of the 5?
In the Greek period, there's 3. And they come from different regions of Greece. The Athens is the Ionic orders. That's where that comes from.
Okay.
Doric is Dori. They thought that's where the Spartans come from.
Obviously.
And so you see the personality of the Spartans, right, in that Doric order. The Ionic is the Athenians were scholarly, intellectual. Scrolls. And then Corinth is a very rich and wealthy place. And so there was 3 orders in their tradition, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. The Romans inherited, and they really have an order, the Tuscan order, because Tuscany is a rural farming area, and so they have 3 too, Now, and then it's not until the Renaissance that the Renaissance artists are looking back at Greek and Rome, and they go, there's really 5 orders, So the Greeks and Romans didn't look at it, they're like, there's 5 orders. It wasn't until the Renaissance, as they were studying the ancient buildings, that they came up with 5 orders, So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. So the 5 orders, we've got Tuscan, and that's like very basic, like
very simple.
Level 1 simple.
Yeah, farm buildings, armories,
And then we advance on just a little bit further to Doric, which is a little more ornate.
And the
strength.
Yes, and the proportions of Doric and Tuscan are fairly similar, that 1 to 7.
And then after that, we go to Ionic, which is more like intellectual. That came from Athens.
Well,
It's got the scrolls.
Yeah, the scrolls are thought to be maybe the young lady's hair pulled up and stuff like that.
Nice.
The curls of the hair.
And then Corinthian, which is more Corinth, decorative, decadent, pretty, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, the last one, composite. I don't understand
Well,
that
you
one.
can see that it's a combination of Ionic and Corinthian.
So that one,
So it's a
is that
composite of two.
more, better?
Yeah.
Okay.
The highest.
Because more decoration, more things, the cooler.
But I mean, think about it this way: the greatest Greek temple, okay, the Parthenon, is in the Doric order, right? It's a low order. Now the Romans, the Romans, you know, they do a lot of their buildings in the Corinthian order. Okay, the Greeks didn't do that as much, and so the Pantheon that we looked at earlier, it's in the Corinthian order, and so their nice temples were done that way. In my mind, these are. And the beauty of them today is they are proportioning systems, okay? There are ways for us to think about how to put moldings into a house, how to organize, and to ignore them is to ignore 2,000 years of building history and 2,000 years of people working these systems out and working out all the parts and pieces. And then, you know, my recent research into the moldings in going back to the 1740s is those guys cared a great deal about how everything was proportioned. They look at a molding and go, okay, well, that little fillet is a 1:7 of this whole thing, and that's 3 parts here and 2 parts there and 1 part there. I mean, it's almost insane how careful they were.
Very.
It's amazing what you can accomplish when you're not on TikTok.